What if the world you see is missing an entire invisible layer that millions of animals rely on every single day? A hidden force all around us, shaping migration routes, survival patterns, and navigation skills so precise it makes human GPS look like guesswork. The most unsettling part is that these creatures aren't guessing at all. They're reading the Earth itself. Take birds, for example, because this is where things start to feel almost unreal. You've probably seen flocks moving across the sky like they already know exactly where they're going. But what if I told you they're literally reading the planet like a map? Species like the European robin and homing pigeons are believed to detect Earth's magnetic field through specialized cells linked to light-sensitive proteins in their eyes. It's not just instinct or memory, it's closer to a built-in compass layered into their biology. Pigeons released hundreds of kilometers away can still return home with unsettling accuracy, as if they're following invisible lines drawn across continents. And the deeper question is this: how do you navigate when your map is something you can't see, hear, or touch? Then the story shifts underwater, where navigation becomes even more critical and even more mysterious. Sea turtles hatch on beaches and immediately begin a journey across vast oceans, returning decades later to the exact same shoreline where they were born. No landmarks, no guides, just instinct and something far stranger. Scientists believe they may be sensing magnetic signatures imprinted on different regions of the ocean floor, essentially using the Earth's magnetic field as a kind of geographic memory. Salmon take this even further. After years in open ocean, they swim back to the very river they were born in, sometimes traveling thousands of kilometers upstream. The question that keeps coming back is simple, but hard to ignore. How do you forget nothing in a world that offers no visible directions? But the ocean doesn't stop surprising us there. It turns out some of its most intimidating predators might also be reading magnetic information in ways we're only beginning to understand. Sharks and rays, for instance, are thought to use electroreception combined with magnetoreception to track movement across long distances. Imagine a creature that doesn't just hunt by smell or sight, but by sensing subtle shifts in the planet's electromagnetic field. Even spiny lobsters, often overlooked entirely, appear to migrate in coordinated patterns guided by magnetic cues. It raises a strange thought. What if the ocean isn't chaotic at all, but structured in ways we simply aren't equipped to perceive? Insects, some of the smallest and most overlooked creatures on Earth, seem to be some of the most sensitive. Monarch butterflies travel thousands of kilometers across North America, completing migrations that span generations, and yet they still arrive at specific overwintering sites in Mexico with remarkable precision. Bees, too, are suspected to use magnetic fields alongside the sun to orient themselves when foraging, creating a dual navigation system that feels almost impossibly advanced for such small brains. Then there are desert ants, which navigate featureless terrain where landmarks don't exist at all, relying on a combination of polarized light and magnetic sensing to find their way back to nests with pinpoint accuracy. It makes you wonder if size has anything to do with intelligence, or if nature simply distributes different kinds of intelligence in unexpected ways. And then things get even more controversial when you look at mammals. Some studies suggest that cattle tend to align their bodies along magnetic north-south axes, when grazing or resting, almost as if they're unconsciously syncing with Earth's field. Deer have shown similar patterns in certain observations, though scientists are still debating the consistency of this behavior. Even dogs have entered the conversation. A surprising study suggested that dogs may prefer to align themselves with the Earth's magnetic field when defecating, although the findings remain debated and not fully understood. Then there's the blind mole rat, living almost entirely underground in complete darkness. Without visual cues, it navigates its tunnel systems in ways that suggest reliance on geomagnetic information. It feels like a strange inversion of expectations. The creatures with the least light exposure may be the most attuned to Earth's invisible signals. The deeper you go into this, the more it stops feeling like isolated quirks and starts feeling like a pattern. Different species, different environments, different survival needs, yet all seemingly interacting with a force humans barely perceive in everyday life. The Earth's magnetic field is generated deep within the planet, constantly shifting, constantly active, and yet it quietly influences navigation systems across oceans, skies, and underground networks of life. It's almost as if the planet is speaking in a language most of its inhabitants have learned to interpret, while one species is still trying to figure out the alphabet. And that leads to an uncomfortable realization. If so many animals rely on this field to survive, migrate, and reproduce, then what else are we missing simply because we don't have the biological equipment to sense it? Birds aren't guessing their routes. Turtles aren't wandering blindly. Even insects moving through fields of flowers are not as lost as they might appear. Every movement is layered with information we cannot directly access, yet it governs survival on a global scale. It makes you rethink what natural navigation really means. Maybe it's not about intelligence in the way we define it, but about tuning into signals that have always been there. And if that's true, then Earth isn't just a place these animals live on. It's something they're continuously reading, responding to, and moving through with an awareness that runs deeper than sight alone.